scene is Washington, D.C. on a cloudy fall afternoon. It's a battle near the top of the Big East men's soccer standings. The Hoyas hosting Marquette. A pivotal battle this afternoon. Dan Helfrich alongside Tom Greaser. Lots of excitement for this one.
And both teams coming off very impressive midweek wins. Marquette, 2 straight victories in the conference to get them into a tie for third, battling for a Big East tournament home field game. And Georgetown, an impressive victory at St. John's, putting them at the top of the standings in the Big East.
So as you see those standings, lots at stake for both teams. Let's talk about the players to watch, and let's talk about 2 of the most dynamic strikers in the conference. First, for Marquette.
Josh Cohen, the senior, a transfer from Pittsburgh, has really had a fantastic season. A dynamic one-on-one player at the top of the league in shots per game, 5th in the league in points, and he is one of a number of experienced attacking players the Hoyas will have to deal with.
Yeah, Marquette's really been buzzing on the attacking side of late, as have the Hoyas. Midweek, the Hoyas and their junior sensation, Derek Dotson, had their way with the Red Storm.
And it was Dotson with a goal and an assist against St. John's. And the junior is doing what he has done since day one on the Hilltop, leading this team in points. He did it as a freshman, as a sophomore, and once again, Dotson leading the Hoyas in scoring.
So Coach Louis Bennett's team's going to have a lot to handle with the trio of Achara, Montez, and Dotson. We're poised for great soccer action on the Big East Digital Network here at Shaw Field. Next. Welcome to Soccer on the Big East Digital Network in Washington, D.C. at Shaw Field, where the Georgetown Hoyas, the first-place team in the conference, host the Marquette Golden Eagles, tied for third. A great atmosphere for soccer here, Tom Greaser, and let's look at the Golden Eagles starting 11.
Yeah, an experienced team that has dealt with a rash of injuries on their back line, but a great sight for Marquette as Chukai back in the starting lineup after missing 2 games, of course, getting that red card against Providence and then dealing with an upper body injury, but back in the starting lineup in the center back.
And for the Hoyas, the familiar faces throughout the lineup, but a new one at the left back position, the first start of the season for Chris Lay.
Yes, similar to Marquette, Georgetown dealing with some injuries. Hope Gunn goes down in the second half against St. John's, so a new back 4 for Coach Weiss today.
Yeah, so it'll be Sean O'Hearn moving into the middle next to freshman Daniel Wu. And they're going to be in front of Giannis Nicopolidis. It was Tomas Romero, the freshman, playing in the goal in that fantastic 3-0 win at St. John's midweek. The goalie rotation continues, Tom, and it's paid off as the Hoyas have only conceded 5 times on the season.
And they haven't conceded a goal in the month of October. Speaking of kind of goalkeeper rotations, Marquette also doing it. Cedric Stern picked up the starts in the last 5 or 6 contests for Marquette and a real steadying influence.
It's senior day on the Hilltop as Georgetown recognized their bevy of seniors in a pregame celebration. And one of those that Marquette no doubt game planning against is the right back, Dylan Nealis.
Nealis with a brilliant goal midweek. The reigning Big East Defensive Player of the Year, having a fantastic senior campaign for the Hoyas.
There's J.B. Fisher finding Sean O'Hearn. It's Fisher returning to the starting lineup. Dante Polvera played in the middle next to Sean Zawatsky midweek. Good layoff from Lochner to Zawatsky, and the Hoyas will get out the left side, and that is our first look at Chris Lay. And Tom, for a player like Lay, whose minutes have been limited, what's important here in the first 10 or 15 minutes?
Getting a few good touches, connecting, keeping it simple. Obviously, with Georgetown, the way they like to play up the right side, with Nealis bombing up that side, Lay will be asked to stay at home.
There's Patrick Segrist, our first look at the captain from Marquette. And Tom, I know you love Segrist as a player.
Oh, decorated player, all first-team conference selection last year. Today, he'll be asked to stay at home, kind of in that left center back role. but Marquette, he has the ability to get up and down that left flank as Nealis does on the right side for Georgetown, and Segrist leads the conference in assists.
So Cedric Stern there, we saw the goalkeeper playing it cute, keeping possession as Marquette likes to do, and they nearly conceded a chance to the foot of Achara. And then another poor ball allows Lochner. He'll find Montez. And now Montez slows things down through Zawadzki. Montez again, now Zawadzki. Clips a dangerous ball in. Header flashed over. It was J.B. Fisher finding the box. And the first chance for the Hoyas goes over.
And look at that ball served in by Zawadzki. The pure number 6 for Georgetown. He is so essential for the success of this Hoyas team in there, clipping in a great ball, and Fisher making a late run, putting pressure on that Marquette back line.
And again, Marquette conceding possession in their own back third. The Hoyas starting their defensive line way forward here, and Marquette struggling early to get out of that those tight spots. Good completed pass there by Zach Wagner. And now Marquette will move through the midfield through Connor Alba. And a foul whistled there. Zawadzki wins the foul, and there's a good look at Luka Perpa.
The talented senior center midfielder. He was the freshman of the year, 2016, two-time all-conference player. He's working his way back into full fitness for this Marquette team.
And then the Hoyas return the favor on the foul there. As we look at Perpa again. Perpa has that dual responsibility as a box-to-box center midfielder. Coach Louis Bennett of the Golden Eagles asks a lot.
Yeah, and he has all the skills to control the center of the park. He's in the top 10 in assists, Marquette history.
Here's Gabe Cash down the left side. There's our first look at the dangerous Josh Cohen. Cohen likes to find space on the left and then cut it back to his right foot.
Yeah, and Coach Bennett said their trip overseas in the spring when they went to England was really a coming out party for Cohen. He really got a good sense playing against some very high quality teams over there of what it means to be a professional, and it's translated to his senior year, 5 goals and 4 assists.
Segrist driven ball forward. It's going to go all the way to Nicopolidis. Giannis Nicopolidis, of course, his father, a longtime goalkeeper for the full Greece national team, including anchoring the defense that won the European Championship in the finest football moment in the history of that country.
Yeah, fantastic for Nicopolidis to have the experience of his father to call back on and rely on. Of course, Coach Weiss, goalkeeper in his own right, had a great career at Dartmouth.
And we see in that graphic his 14th season at Georgetown. Tom, he's had a lot of great teams. This may be among the, if not the best of them.
Yeah, and right from the beginning of the year, Coach Weiss felt it was going to be his deepest team, and that certainly has played out as the season has gone on.
Here's Montez, tackled away well. And then Marquette clears the area, forcing Sean O'Hearn back. O'Hearn's moved today from the left back position to the left center back position, playing alongside Daniel Wu again in the absence of Rio Hope Gund, the lower body injury.
And O'Hearn has really matured as a soccer player.
Lay finding Dotson. Dotson cuts inside, but a good double team there. And Cedric Stern able to collect. The lanky German who's earned the trust of his teammates and his 6th consecutive start. Here is the Big East men's soccer season goes over the halfway mark. The Hoyas would clinch a first-round bye with a win today. And Marquette certainly, Tom, looking for positioning to win a home game in the first round of the tournament.
Yeah, and of course, last year Marquette had that magical run during the Big East tournament, got all the way to the championship game, which was here at Shaw Field. They fell 2-0 to Georgetown in that match, but that was a very even match, and a lot of players from that team from Marquette are back on the field today and feel confident with their ability to play with and against Georgetown.
And Tom, a bunch of those Marquette players have played a lot against Georgetown. They have not won a lot. This has been domination since Marquette joined the conference.
Yeah, you can see only one victory in 17 matches for Marquette, but 2 of the last 4 matches have ended in draws. And again, Marquette losing in that Big East final, it was a game that they were playing well for big stretches of that match.
Good feed from Chris Lay there. Hoyas unable to generate a chance, but the Hoyas, the majority of the possession, as we'd suspect here, as we enter the 8th minute of play. Scoreless in Washington, D.C. Perfect fall day for soccer. Temperature in the low 60s. Cloud cover as O'Hearn looks for Achara, who takes a hard fall and bounces straight up. And he was offsides, so the referee acknowledging as we look at Connor Alba. Alba, another one of the experienced midfielders on this Marquette side.
Also an all Big East performer last year. It's the experience we talked about, the attacking players in the midfield and up top for Marquette. A lot of interchangeable parts. They don't have the depth that Georgetown has, but you know, the 10 field players that are on the field in that attacking third, those attacking players have high quality to them.
Achara can't find Montez, and it'll be another throw for the Hoyas. As we look at the senior recognized before the match here on his senior day. What a terrific career for Achara. Has dealt with injuries in all 4 of his seasons, but has made massive contributions in all 4.
Yeah, it's remarkable when you think about the games that Achara has missed and the production that he has had, even with all those missed matches. He certainly seems to be kind of finding his form, though, in his senior year, and you know, he missed a bulk of the matches at the start, but he is a dynamic attacking player that teams have to game plan for.
And this Hoya team, Tom, in one of their most difficult stretches of the season, how about 2 shutout road wins at Maryland and in Queens against the Red Storm?
Yeah, and that win Wednesday night against St. John's puts Georgetown at the top of the table.
As Wu dispossessed, here comes Sunnison down the left side against O'Hearn. Sean wards him off, and then he'll concede a throw-in, and Daniel Wu there caught in possession in a tough spot.
Yeah, and it was Cone and Sunason who both kind of dispossessed him, but good covering defense by O'Hearn coming over from that left center back position, understanding that Wu had been dispossessed.
That's Gabe Cash with the throw, and he and Cone combine.
Cash, one of 10. It's a big family.
Fisher, early ball looking for Achara. It's cut out, and here's Wagner. Lay intercepts. And the Hoyas comfortable in possession. Cohen wins it. Lay fights back, and he'll play back to Nicopolidis. Marquette a little higher pressure there.
Yeah, early in the match, Marquette was behind midfield, but in the last couple of minutes, that top line not giving Georgetown as much time to play.
You see Ethan Lochner slip there. There's a little bit of slickness on the Shaw Field surface. There's a lot of moisture in the air today. Wu steps in front of Cone, and it'll be a Marquette throw right near midfield. Referee J.C. Griggs manning the middle today as we take a look at the turf. Sean, Tom, it's a fully resurfaced Shaw Field, and it's held up well. This is where the test comes in, though. There'll be a lot of action on the pitch for both the men and the women in the coming month, or as the men hope, too. And, of course, the women near the top of the Big East table, they'll be on the Big East Digital Network tomorrow against Seton Hall.
Yeah, which is a big game for Coach Nolan, of course, who played at Seton Hall. And I think we're going to get lucky today with the weather. Rain will hold up. I'm not so confident that will be the case tomorrow.
Look at you with your meteorology.
I cover it all.
And there we see Lochner giving up a foul in a spot 50 or so yards from goal. But Louis Bennett says, let's slow down. Let's get our defenders forward here. Maybe create a half a chance.
Yeah, including Chukai, who's a big target up there. Great size as the ball's played to him.
Hearn does well to win the header, but they'll win a corner. And Chukai clearly the target there from the right foot of Josh Cohen.
And with Hope gunned out, Hope Gunn is a dominant player in the air, good size in the center back position. So there's a good look at the player we highlighted at the start of the contest. Josh Cohen leads this team 5 goals and 4 assists, 5th in the conference. We talked about Segrist at the top of the conference in assists with 7 of them.
Zawadzki came off his part of the zone to head that ball out of harm's way. And then a left-footed effort by Samarone goes wide of Nicopolitis.
I think 12 or 13 minutes in, Brian Weiss a little frustrated. And that was one of the questions I had coming into this match. A huge win midweek. Would there be a hangover effect for this Georgetown team? They find themselves at the top of the table, but only 1 point ahead of St. John's. And that was a late match Wednesday evening. They get in early in the morning on Thursday, have to go to class. 1 day of preparation.
Dylan Nealis, who looked like he visited his friendly neighborhood barber, or maybe his roommate this morning. Long throw up the touch. Looking for Lochner against Segrist. Those two experienced players play to a draw, and ball went out, and it'll be a throw-in for Georgetown in front of their own bench. And you do see the urgency from the Georgetown staff, both Weiss and Klakota, off their seats.
Yeah, this Georgetown team that has been playing so well doesn't appear to be as sharp at the start of this match. Certainly credit to Marquette, kind of not giving them time and space and just allowing Georgetown to completely dictate the tempo.
Ahern sees it running legs from Achara. He'll put it on his foot. Oh, and they'll call Achara for a foul. I think he believed it was incidental contact.
Yeah, and there's that explosive ability, and that is a tough call against Achara. Marquette will take it, though. That's the difference that Achara brings to this attacking side. It's that ball over the top that he can run onto and get behind you. Georgetown, you talked about possession-oriented, but that man Achara has game-breaking ability with his pace.
And Tom, we highlighted Derek Dotson before the match, Georgetown's leading scorer with 5 goals and 6 assists. Dotson only a touch or two here, 15 minutes into the game.
Yeah, and Marquette is really playing with 3 in the back. It's almost 3 center backs, and it's hard for Dotson to find pockets of space to get the ball right now. And really the other man that has been so good in the attack, Jacob Montez, haven't called his name for Georgetown as well, as Nealis gets dropped down.
And then Nealis tried to take the free kick early. Gabe Cash stepped in front smartly. And referee J.C. Griggs will have a word with Cash as you see a clinical foul. And then Nealis wanted to play Lochner straight up the line. And Cash is saying, I didn't have time to get out of the way.
Yeah, just a slap on the wrist, no booking there. Easily could have found his way into the book with that encroachment.
And then Nealis comes off the ball as the Hoyas allow Jacob Montez, the junior. Montez played in the Portland Timbers system as a youth, and he has been outstanding, one of the top midfielders in the nation, and he scored a terrific free kick goal. Here's a served free kick looping into the path of Stern, and Cedric Stern easily able to grab that.
Stern, the former U16 German national team keeper, absolutely no problems with that ball. That ball needs to be driven into the box with all the traffic Georgetown had. Stern, that is a training session save for him.
Fisher, an interception. Now he moves forward. Overlap, left-footed ball. And it was cut out by Kukaj. And Chukai did very well there, Tom, to spy the run of Dotson.
Yeah, and that back three and having the experience of Chukai back there, you can see, it was a big, hard challenge with Dotson and Chukai there. But having that sophomore center back, as you see that collision.
Zawadzki intercepts well. And Nealis will elect to continue possession. Now Lochner. Hoyas with a little more urgency in possession right now. Nealis swings the play to Lay, who has 30 yards of space in front. Good turn from Montez. He'll ward off the challenge from Alba. Now Lochner back to Montez. Great skill from Jacob Montez. A shot and a goal!
And I think that's an own goal for Marquette, but what individual brilliance by Jacob Montez dancing through this Marquette back line.
And we talked about the urgency of possession. The Hoyas swing it from right to left. Montez wards off the Alba challenge, cuts inside, and then plays the 1-2 with Lochner. And indeed, it was an own goal. But the Hoyas, the beneficiary of, it came off the foot of Lewis Yule.
Yeah, Yule, the freshman from London, England, a desperate challenge and unfortunate for Marquette. They concede, but that is the brilliance of Jacob Montez, who is having, you talked about it, a sensational junior campaign. He has 7 goals and really could have 10 or 11 at this point on the year. He's been so dynamic for Georgetown in the attack.
So the Hoyas take the 1-0 lead in the 17th minute on their first great chance of the afternoon. Tom, as you know, one of my least favorite rules in this sport that no one could be credited with an assist or anything on that goal.
Yeah, you're looking for 2 or 3 assists on that play.
Chukai moves forward. Looping ball looking for Cohen. Cohen undercuts Nealis and is whistled for the foul.
And I know Coach Bennett didn't want to concede early against this Georgetown team, and really his team had done well. It was that one little bit of individual brilliance from Montez, and then a crafty 1-2 at the top of the box that undressed that back line. But now Marquette will have to start chasing the game some, and that will create more space in that midfield, which there really hasn't been a lot of to this point.
Lay a dangerous ball, chested down by Lochner. He's in. He's around Stern. Lochner near the end line. Good patience from the grad student. He'll pick out Zawadzki. Oh, and it was an in-between hop. Now Nealis. Nealis taken down. It was Segrist clinically fouling Nealis. And a penalty will be awarded here. And the Hoyas all over the Golden Eagles, and that's what the senior can do, no question about it. Segrist got caught in the air. Nealis actually had elected to pass the ball.
But that is the right back for Georgetown, and the feet that he has in a tight spot is incredible. And on senior day, it will be Achara stepping to the spot here.
So Achara versus Stern, the Nigerian versus the German. Number 20 on senior day at Shaw Field. He steps, he shoots, he scores! It's Achara making it 2-0 in the Nigerian on senior day. Electrifies the Shaw Field crowd and makes it 2-0.
And that is a composed finish for Achara. Takes his time. Stern went the right way. And Achara, I think, his 4th goal of the year.
So the fourth of the year for Achara, all set up by the individual brilliance of Dylan Nealis.
The play started, though, with Georgetown's left back, Chris Lay, hitting a great long ball that really started it.
Yeah, and Lay's been involved in both Georgetown goals so far. Here's Montez. He has Riviere to his right. He'll shoot instead over. And the Hoyas, who were sluggish in the first 15 minutes, now are feeling it.
Yeah, you can see the quality of this Hoyas squad, and Marquette almost needs a timeout to reset things right now. Unfortunately, those don't exist in college soccer. But the Hoyas are buzzing right now.
Fisher chesting the path of Achara. And Salmarone plays it out of bounds. Marquette 3-3 in the conference coming into this one, sitting in the mid-50s in the RPI. It was a lot at stake here. But I think the 2-0 scoreline, what Louis Bennett would have feared coming into the match. Dotson heads. Wagner able to clear, but Hoyas possess. Marquette just hasn't had enough of the ball to pressure this Georgetown defense. And it's interesting, Tom, talking to some college soccer observers, people are curious when Georgetown plays against a team that they'll have to defend for long periods of time, how will they do? Because it hasn't happened all season long.
Well, and with the quality that Georgetown has on the ball, they may have stretches where they have to defend, but it would be hard to find a team that will cause them to defend for long stretches at a time.
Wu into a pocket to Riviere. He turned inside, though. Now Salmarone. He'll look for Sunnison against Wu. And the freshman decides the Shawfield stands were the best place for that ball. And it'll be a throw-in for the Golden Eagles. 4 matches in men's soccer on the Big East Digital Network presented by SoFi here this afternoon, as it's the 7th of 9 match days. The Hoyas' remaining schedule includes Creighton and Villanova, as Montez again into the teeth of the defense. Now Cohen with some burst and some field ahead of him. Wu and Nealis does do well to stop that counter. And then Sunnison and Wu battle to a stalemate. Fisher's going to get down. And Achara does well. And here we see the burst of Achara. Now their team able to get a hold of the ball. And finally Segrist does. 22nd minute at Shawfield. An own goal and an Achara penalty kick as the red-hot Hoyas, 12-1-1, the #1 ranked team in the country by the RPI, which is typically used as the primary metric in NCAA tournament seeding. But for now, the Hoyas have their sights trained on the #1 seed in the Big East tournament, because that would guarantee hosting all the way to the finals.
Yeah, the men's tournament on campus sites, top 2 teams get a bye in that first round. And if pending results today, Georgetown could earn a bye with 2 matches to go. You think about the task that Marquette has in front of them. Georgetown hasn't conceded 2 goals in a game all year.
Tom, you talked about postseason at men's campus sites. It's different in both women's soccer and women's field hockey. And tickets available for both of those contests at bigeast.com/WSOC tickets on the soccer side and bigeast.com/FH tickets on the field hockey side, as Omaha, Nebraska and Creighton will host, and then Quinnipiac up in Connecticut, the host of the field hockey event.
The great state of Connecticut.
Known as the Nutmeg State.
Or the Constitution State.
Or the Constitution State.
Or the home state of you and I.
Indeed. J.B. Fisher, who's been solid this afternoon. And it's been interesting. It's basically a rotation of Fisher and freshman Dante Polvera at that second center midfield position alongside Zawadzki for the year. Cohen sees Nicopolitas off his line. Over. And Josh Cohen, adept and adroit with that right-footed effort. He had Nicopolitas beat, but it hit the roof of the net.
And Cohen just brilliance just inside the midfield line. Nicopolitas was caught in no man's land. And the man we highlighted for Marquette at the top of the broadcast shows the ability that he has to strike at a moment's notice.
Throw in there for Gabe Cash.
And Dan, for me, that's something that Marquette probably saw on some game film, because Cohen got his head up quickly and had a sense. Nicopolitas does come off of his line to the top of the box as Georgetown's building out of the back. And when Georgetown loses the ball in the midfield, just great awareness from Cohen.
Lay another good ball. Chukai read it that time. And then Dotson commits a foul on Wagner. And Tom, with these two goals, Georgetown has scored 32 on the season against, 5 against.
No, and Montez there, it has 8 goals. I think that was an own goal for Marquette, but the combination of Dotson and Montez scoring goals puts fear into opposing teams' defenses.
O'Hearn finds Achara. Achara with a burst. He has Montez to his right, Dotson to his left. He blows by both of them and then slows down to find Dotson. He'll return the favor. Achara has runners. Nealis wants it at the back post. Instead, it's Chris Lay. Lay calmly to Achara. Headed away by Segrist. And Nealis will watch it roll out for a throw, and a great look there at the number 12, who saw as a middle schooler his brother Jimmy help escort the Hoyas as a left back to the national championship game. He knew at that point he wanted to be a Hoya, and he certainly has his sights set on the Hoyas returning to the College Cup. Here's Riviere through traffic to Dotson. Dotson's shot is blocked by Segrist.
Again, we have seen a couple of players lose their footing. Wonder if some of the guys at halftime will go to the longer studs, as the field seems to be softer than it's been the last few weeks.
Fisher, good ball into the chest of Dylan Nealis. Now it's the Columbus Crew product, Zawadzki. Good touch off a bouncing ball from Wu. And now Chris Lay, in his first start of the season, has been very active. Montez to Fisher. Nealis wants it on the back post. Fisher's going to unload from deep, just wide of Stern. Stern got caught his feet a little bit in that muddy area in front of his goal.
And Fisher strikes as clean of a ball as anyone on this Georgetown team. Now that's asking a lot from about 30 yards, but he hit it well.
And that'll be the last play of Fisher's first half as he exits in favor of Dante Polvera. And then Achara, who scored the second Hoyas goal on the day, he'll exit and be replaced by Paul Rothrock, the Hoyas leading assist man with 7.
And he also is tied for the league with Segrist in the Big East with 7 assists.
Nealis to Riviere, he'll get it back. And then Dotson was looking for a ball in front of him. Nealis played it behind, and so Luca Perpa and the Golden Eagles able to possess. But Perpa been very quiet here.
Yeah, Perpa's such a decorated player, so talented. Certainly Marquette will need to find the ball to their number 10 more as they try to work their way back into this match.
28th minute at Shaw Field, an own goal and an Achara penalty kick. The difference here on the Big East Digital Network presented by SoFi. As Wu finds Chris Lay. A very active first half, and then a right-footed ball out of play as Lay was looking for Rothrock.
How you doing? Dan, we've talked about the depth of this Georgetown team, and on the other side, a lot of the adversity that Marquette has had to deal with is Coach Weiss has made, 4 substitutes, 3 at least at this point. Marquette hasn't gone to its bench. And they had a hard-fought 3-2 victory midweek in tough conditions, so the legs will certainly be heavy for this Marquette side.
Thomas, we see Dante Polvera in the foreground of the screen there, going with the gloves on both hands today in 60-something degree conditions. There's O'Hearn, who's looked comfortable in the middle of the park. Here is Polvera. He'll step forward. Good ball to find Rothrock. The junior transfer, left-footed service, blocked by Wagner.
Look, I don't hate the gloves. My son's favorite player, Mo Salah for Liverpool, he typically wears an undershirt even when it's 80 or 90 degrees, and he asks why he keeps wearing the undershirt. It's just what he does. Polvera going with a new style. Don't worry about the temperature.
Chris Lay with the longest throw on this Hoya roster. And you can see right away Georgetown setting up, knowing that Lay's throw is in there. There's a good look at the stylish gloves. Into the feet of Dotson, posting up there on Chukai. But Marquette able to clear. And then with 15 minutes remaining in the half, both Bennett and Weiss will make substitutions. It'll be Will Sands and Jack Beer entering for the Hoyas, and it'll be A.J. Franklin, the redshirt freshman from Streamwood, Illinois, entering for the Golden Eagles.
And it's Franklin, a decorated Scholastic player, top 10 list in career goals in Illinois.
Good turn by Rothrock, looking for Sands. And it's cleared, but Beer winning the ball to Rothrock. Good first touch. Falls to Polvera. Good first-time ball. Beer's left-footed cross looking for Rothrock. Can't find him. Riviere will pick it up and win a throw.
And that's the quality of the players that are coming in off the bench for Coach Weiss. They do not miss a beat. And in many instances, the players that come in raise the level of play. Just so hard for Marquette. And Georgetown subs out 6 attacking players. Polvera with a crafty turn.
Riviere has space. He'll go to Nealis. First time cross coming. It's a good one to Polvera. Shot saved by Stern, and then he collects the rebound. But good skill there and good combination amongst Polvera, Riviere, and Nealis. And the freshman just moments away from his 4th of the year. Chukai pressured by Beer.
And that's it. The fresh legs you can press higher as Georgetown is doing.
Here's Connor Alba. Good ball to Perpa. First time he's had space. Luca Perpa cuts inside. He was looking for the overlapping Cash, but the Hoyas win, and they'll counter.
And there's little things that make teams win games in there. It was Sean Zawatsky just positioning himself perfectly to thwart that attack. Zawatsky so key to this Georgetown success this year. Of course, the only match they lost at Louisville, Zawatsky was unable to go.
Here's Beer cutting inside. Nealis wants it. Nealis will get it, although he didn't want that shape of pass. Nealis cuts inside through the legs of Salmeron. And then a foul on Will Sands. And Tom, as we take our first look at the freshman, Sands has been outstanding as a left-sided reserve in his freshman season.
Yeah, he had some fitness issues early in the year. He's worked his way back from injury, and he is a dynamic attacking player down that left side. Great pace, great quality to his game. And you know he loves trying to go left, getting to the end line, and defenders just can't stop him from getting there.
It's Ewell finding Salmeron. Now Segrist in the attacking half for the first time. Diagonal ball read well by Lay. And now Polvera, first touch way out ahead of him. Marquette wins possession. They work the ball wide to Cash. Left-sided defender. Couple step overs, then a service to the back post. Headed down, it's Perpa wide. Perpa left-footed shot. Nicopolitas had it covered, and a goal kick for the Hoyas.
Just like we talked about Montez being so dangerous in the attack, Luca Perpa, he has all the ability in the attacking third, and he doesn't need a lot of space to get his shot off.
We see Giannis Nicopolitas in the all-fluorescent green, made popular by current San Jose Earthquakes and U.S. under-23 goalkeeper JT Marcinkowski.
I didn't realize that JT was credited with the popularity of fluorescent green, but I learned something every day I'm around you.
JT still loves watching Big East soccer here on the Big East Digital Network as the Earthquakes in their off-season. Here's Chukai. Good dangerous ball to Alba. Wide to Cash. He'll have a chance against Nealis. Nealis blocks it, but it goes out, and Marquette will have their first corner of the match.
The last 4 or 5 minutes, a little bit better from Marquette in the attacking third, and a lot of it's been Alba and Perpa have found themselves on the ball more. Certainly Marquette would love to get one back on a restart, and they'll go short.
Cohen to the late arriving Cash on his right foot, and his shot harmlessly wide of Nicopolitas as we enter the 36th minute at Shaw Field, where a burst in the middle of the half led to 2 goals for the Hoyas. First, own goal off the foot of Yule after Montez beat several defenders, and second, Nealis fouled in the penalty area, and Achara converts. Sands wins it near midfield. And then Beer swings the ball to Nealis. Nealis against Cohen. Good athleticism from Josh Cohen there. And now Alba into a pocket. The ball's lost there by the substitute, AJ. And Georgetown calm on the ball, protecting their 2-0 lead. Lay has Polvera, who has acres of space in front of him. Ball ends up at the feet of Rothrock. Now Beer. 2-on-1. Rothrock wicket. Rothrock cutting back to his preferred right foot, and then he'll slow things down to Lay. O'Hearn swinging it to Nealis, and this is one of those sequences, Tom, happens a few times most Georgetown games where every one of the 10 players is going to touch the ball.
Yeah, and Marquette has a very deep line as Georgetown's keeping possession in there. Georgetown just with the easy giveaway. So there have been pockets of this match when Marquette has applied more pressure, but that most recent stretch was not one of them.
Zawatsky wins it cleanly near midfield. Now Beer. Sands on a hard run down the left side. He'll get it. Sands against Wagner. Sands little step over. Sands to the left. Sands a shot. It's just wide. It was saved by Stern. And there you see everything that Will Sands has to offer.
And Dan, it's exactly what we talked about. He loves going left. You know that's in the scouting report, but that step over just freezes Wagner just enough, and Sands able to get by him and unleash a hard shot that Stern did well to parry out for a corner kick.
And Georgetown's going to go to the substitute bench and find Riley Strassner, the senior on senior day, one of the better targets as Riviere comes out. And it'll be Jack Beer to hit the in-swinger. Beer looking for O'Hearn, heads across the face. Then Wagner gets the second one and Stern collects. It was a good set play. No one followed O'Hearn, who drifted to the back post.
Yeah, Marquette got caught ball watching there. And O'Hearn did really well to head that one right back across the goal mouth, but Marquette up to the challenge.
And the referee stops the clock to allow a word with Josh Cohen. This all happened after a foul was whistled on Zawadzki, a foul that, as you can see, Brian Weiss did not agree with.
Yeah, and with a 2-goal lead, the last thing you want to do as Georgetown is give away restarts.
There's a header just over, and the flag is up for offsides. It was a dangerous ball by Perpa.
Oh, you can say that again. That is a brilliant ball served in by Perpa.
And A.J. Franklin got on the end of it, but didn't hold his run.
What a ball. Just in the perfect spot. About 7 or 8 yards out. Nicopolitis can't come and get it. And Georgetown, really fortunate not having conceded a goal in this first half. You think about the first half at St. John's. St. John's had 0 shots. Marquette already with 5.
Perpa against Lay. Now it's Franklin. Tries to cut around O'Hearn. And then he fouls O'Hearn. And Sean O'Hearn's been very steady in the center of the back this afternoon.
Yeah, asked to move over from his left back position. And this is just the maturity of O'Hearn. Just a slight movement to step inside of that attacking player and win the foul. O'Hearn certainly has matured in all of his years on the hilltop. Being asked to come out of his customary position.
Rothrock finds Nealis with space. Early ball to Strassner. And they'll say off of Strassner's foot correctly as Segrist wins his team a goal kick. And now it's Joe DeLuz, the Southern California sophomore. He'll replace Chris Lay. A good 40 minutes for Chris Lay in his first start of the season.
Yeah, and Lay hit some quality balls. Did his job when asked of it defensively. You know, we've highlighted Hope Gunn being out. Also, Foster McCune unable to go as well for Georgetown. He's battling an injury.
DeLuz and O'Hearn, calm possession. 4th appearance of the season for DeLuz. Nealis looking for Rothrock. And Segrist looked like he won it clean.
Yeah, and in Segrist in disbelief right in front of the Georgetown bench, and get a good look at it here. First to the ball for Segrist there, and I didn't think the studs were up, so can understand his look of disbelief.
42nd minute, as you see the pairing of Weiss and Klakota. Now Dante Polvera, the freshman from the NYCFC program, gets himself into a heap of trouble. Cone cuts back, finds Perpa. Georgetown retreats well, and O'Hearn starts the counter through Beer. Beer has a streaking Sands on the left. Instead elects to slow things down through DeLuz. Polvera's been active in his first 15 minutes of his stint on the pitch today. The gloved one. sure you stay with us at halftime for some great content from the Big East. Here's Beer finding Sands. And a clean tackle there from Ewell.
Yeah, and the referee was in a great position there. We'll take a look at it again. It's Sands getting in behind. Good challenge by Ewell and the correct call. And we talk about the position of the referee. You know, the fans here at Shaw thought it was a foul, but 8 yards from the play, and that was just a very good tackle and great officiating.
J.C. Griggs. Beer the corner. Double-headed by Marquette. Salmeron will get to it. And now Cash hits it out of play with less than 2 minutes remaining. The own goal and the Achara penalty, the difference in this 2-0 Georgetown lead. The Hoyas have been the better side as they try to move to 6-0-1 on the conference season. Marquette would fall to 3-4 if they're unable to find the comeback.
Yeah, and if Marquette can't find a couple of goals to get back in this match, their 2 final games, as Beer unloads off the crossbar out of nowhere.
It was a left-footed drive from Jack Beer, ringing the crossbar behind Stern. A little deft hip move. That ball was dipping.
When Beer has the ability to strike with either foot and clearly from distance, that was out of nothing. We were just talking about the importance of Marquette's last 2 matches for them to figure out how to get into the Big East tournament.
Less than a minute. Cash looking for Franklin. He and Wu battle. The double team comes from Rothrock, but Franklin ends up with the ball. Now Cash. Good switch of the play to Ewell. But Georgetown able to reset its defense. It's the educated left foot of Siegrist. He sees the time on the clock, so he'll play one forward. Wu easily intercepts. And the clock will tick down to under 10 seconds remaining.
10, 9, 8,
And Tom
7,
Greaser,
6,
a quality
4,
first half performance for Georgetown as they continue
0.
to get leads in the first half and to not concede goals. And when that happens, you will be one of the, if not the top teams in the country.
Yeah, really good performance after a fantastic win midweek for this Georgetown team. And there will be a lot of questions from Marquette coming into the second half to figure out how they can get back into this match.
2-0 at halftime. Big East features coming up next. Halftime here at Shaw Field. Hoyas lead Marquette 2-0. We'll take a look at a couple great features from the conference. One about the 40th anniversary of the Big East Conference, and then the importance of diversity on our college campuses.
My time came to stop coaching. I was very fortunate that I didn't have to go cold turkey. I was able to start the Big East Conference, and we came across the sky like a meteor.
One recruiting year that they had that really turned everything around was the Ewan Mullen Pinckney recruiting year. It changed the face of Eastern basketball probably forever.
We just believed in ourselves and a lot of hard work on everybody's part.
Every March, Madison Square Garden is home to everything that is college basketball.
Put on your red shoes and dance the blues.
What? How's the weather? Yeah. It's snowing out. It's a blizzard, but we ain't gonna stop.
Put on your red shoes and dance the blues. The serious moonlight.
I think rightly there were questions early on about whether the Big East could withstand the test of reconfiguration. And I think if you were here, we've done that and more.
It's a monster league now. Last man standing, bring the flag. Tough to coach in, but great for spectators and great to play in. The march of the Big East goes on.
One of the positives about the sports business in the last couple of years, and in recent years in particular, has been the growing interest in seeing our industry become a more diverse and inclusive place.
I find it important for us to amplify the voices of those who have not traditionally had a seat at the table. As a Black African woman, my various social identities are always at the forefront of my daily interactions, from my first name, my culture, to where I'm from. So for me, diversity is about us celebrating our uniqueness as a society.
A lot of what happens in terms of diversifying workforce in the college world happens at the campus level. That's really where the core hiring takes place. The schools are responsible for hiring their directors of athletics, their staffs, their coaches. And so the conference is really a step away from that activity, but I think conferences can and should set a tone. And so in the Big East, we have tried to make diversity and inclusion a conference strategic priority. We have, for example, within our conference SAC group, designated a diversity and inclusion officer. D&I has become an important topic of discussion at SAC meetings. And our D&I officer is now included into the conference-wide diversity and inclusion working group that we've created.
I currently serve as the conference's Student Athlete Advisory Committee's Diversity and Inclusion Officer. This position is charged with ensuring that the conference carries out its commitment to inclusion for all. And I assist the conference staff in creating opportunities for student athletes from different backgrounds to come together to share and exchange ideas. I also work closely with the Big East Diversity and Inclusion Working Group.
You know, when I think about diversity, I think about the fact that diversity is a fact. When we think about inclusion, we think about inclusion being a choice. And I think if we can succeed in anything at the Big East is to impress upon everyone how inclusion isn't just a choice but a responsibility.
The Big East is committed to continuing the development of programs and initiatives that support diverse and inclusive environments for our student athletes, coaches, staff, and communities.
Hallelujah.
And this is just one night. You should see what we do during the day. Marquette University. Be the difference.
Back at halftime at Shaw Field, Georgetown leads Marquette 2-0, and Tom Greaser, it was a relatively uneventful first 15 minutes of this match, and then the Hoyas kicked into gear.
Yeah, it was a burst from Georgetown that resulted in individual brilliance from Jacob Montez and a tidy 1-2 at the top of the box that resulted in an own goal. And a couple minutes later, it's Dylan Nealis, as we're still taking a look at Montez dancing around the Marquette defense. And a couple minutes later here, it was good feet from Nealis and then just getting upended for a penalty kick, which Achara made no mistake about.
And Achara on senior day, his fourth goal won't be one he remembers, the first penalty for the Hoyas on the season. Marquette had a couple of chances late in the half, but Georgetown able to keep the 2-0 advantage. And Tom, as we look at the players of the week, the one in the middle of your screen, the defensive player of the week on the pitch today.
Yeah, Nealis, the reigning Big East Defensive Player of the Year as well, and it's Cabrera for Butler, the freshman and the attacking player of the week. What a week he had with 5 points, including a golden goal.
And the honor roll, some familiar faces, including Nicopolitis and Segrist, both on the pitch today.
And Segrist, an all-conference performer a year ago.
And Nicopolitis, multiple shutouts for the Hoyas, and the Hoyas haven't conceded in 7 matches. And so the Hoyas lead 2-0. We'll be back for second half action momentarily.
Hallelujah.
And this is just one night. You should see what we do during the day. Marquette University. Be the difference.
Moments away from halftime ending and the second half beginning at Shaw Field. Dan Helfrich back alongside Tom Greaser, and Tom, the Hoyas, a consistent 2-0 performance, and their advantage shows up on the stat sheet.
Yeah, 9 shots for Georgetown, but for Marquette, credited with 5 shots in the first half. And again, this is a Georgetown team that does not concede many shots, so that's a good sign for Marquette. Of course, 3 corners for Georgetown shows their territorial advantage, but it's the upper right-hand corner stat that matters the most, and that is 2 for Georgetown, and a huge task for Marquette in the second half, as the Hoyas have only conceded 5 times all year, and not in any game have they given up more than 1.
That is the story of Georgetown's dominance from the beginning of this season. 32 goals, 5 against, and Tom, the Hoyas have only trailed for 19 minutes in this entire season.
Yeah, and what a response it was in those 19 minutes. It's a good look at Marquette's goalkeeper, Cedric Stern.
Yeah, those 19 minutes were in Westwood, California, as UCLA scored a 5th-minute goal to take the advantage over the Hoyas, but the Hoyas responded with 5 unanswered to beat UCLA. I think that was an important match. Their confidence was high coming into that match, but it soared even further after it as we're underway. And early at Salmarone, conceding possession to Will Sands. Sands will get the start in the second half at the left side of midfield. And then Chris Lay deposits one in the corner, looking for a Chara against Chukai.
Chukai's held up well. Marquette was unsure if he would be able to go today, dealing with that upper body injury. But a real steadying influence in that back line for Marquette.
So Cedric Stern, the sophomore, winning the starting goalkeeper position midway through his season. And Marquette's been playing good football lately. 2 consecutive important conference wins. And it was a confident side coming into today.
Yeah, and Coach Bennett, he just has felt great about the response of his team in those 2 wins that you talked about. Dealing with adversity. Chukai, of course, unable to go in the Villanova match because of a red card. And all sorts of other injuries, and just gutsy responses to get those 2 wins, put themselves in a good position to qualify for the Big East tournament. They will have to get some results in their last 2.5 matches.
The Marquette restarting play quickly. Segrist. Now Cash. Dangerous ball by Cash. Puts Chukai under some pressure. He'll calmly deal with it to Ewell, who, unfortunately, his tackle on a dribbling Montez causes the own goal that started the scoring for Georgetown this afternoon, as O'Hearn rises above Sunnison and wins the header for Georgetown.
And that's a just great athleticism from O'Hearn. Think about this Georgetown team and the athleticism on it. This man tops the list of any athletes on a field anywhere. Sachar looked like he got grabbed from Chukai as he tried to spin away.
It's a good look from...
Oh yeah, and Chukai just grabbed his arm.
The guys in the truck doing a great job there, finding that replay. Bachara heads straight up in the air, but it's cleared by Wegner. Now Nealis. Polvera, good first touch out of pressure, springing Lay down the left side. Lay sees a run from Dotson he likes, but Chukai easily reads. Polvera with a head of steam. Polvera cutting to the end line. Can he keep it in play? He does. but right to stern. But there you see almost the gliding steps when Polvera is at full speed.
It is a burst out of the center of the midfield. We've seen him score some great goals, kind of making runs like that, just hard, dangerous runs. He's got great size and really good feet in the center of the park for Georgetown.
And really warm hands. Here's Wu. Headed away by Chukai, but there is the gloved one, Dante Polvera. Out wide to Sands. Sands bowled over there by Ewell. An easy foul, and the Hoyas will restart quickly. O'Hearn, left-footed ball in the direction of Sands. That's going to veer out of play. Tom, how have you liked O'Hearn shifting over into the middle of the park today versus his normal position wider?
Shown a lot of maturity. You remember early in the first half when we lost the ball, it was O'Hearn making a good recovery run to thwart the attack. We saw him rise up and win the header over Sunason, and he's really just had a mature outing today.
Here's Wagner, now Cash. 50th minute. Georgetown comfortably ahead, but one Marquette goal could change all of that. As Cohen finds Purpose onside. Polvera came back well to defend as Sal Marone was lurking if that ball had gotten through.
And you can, and that is a hard foul on Nealis. So Wagner finds himself in the book with studs up. But right before that, it was a great pocket of space that Purpa found himself in. And you were commenting that Georgetown is comfortable, but you can't be so comfortable that you lose sight of one of the most dangerous attacking midfielders in this conference. As Purpa tries to cut one back against the grain. Good defending by Georgetown, though, dealing with the runners.
A yellow card has been issued to the Golden Eagles, number 22.
There's Cohen
Zach Wagner.
trying to find Purpa, double team from the Hoyas. Georgetown now 6.5+ games without conceding against a difficult part of the schedule, Tom.
Yeah, it's remarkable. The last goal Georgetown gave up was on September the 28th here at Shaw Field against Providence.
And it was a late goal to make it 2-1 against the run of play. Good skill there from Alba. He'll cut inside. Polvera shoves him aside. Polvera, the freshman, Alba, the upperclassman, but Dante, the much stronger physically of the two.
Polvera just with great size and strength.
See Lewis Ewell. Now it's Alba. It's the rarely called a legal throw in there. No, I mean, in your son Andy's game, not as not as rare.
Yes, although there are many illegal throw-ins at the collegiate level. You see a lot of these one-handed long throw-ins that do not get called.
Dotson has it, one-on-one against Chukai. Chukai forces him wide. Little chip. Ends up at the feet of Will Sands near the corner flag. Sands, active hips. And then a foul there, and it was an obvious foul.
Yeah, Ewell puts his hands on his head there, but when you clip someone on the ankle, even if he doesn't go down, you're going to get called for a foul. Just, yeah. But right before that again, you saw as Sands tried to make that quick turn, some of the Shaw Field turf coming up and kind of losing his footing. Great look right there.
Montez, near post ball He was looking for Nealis, who was covered by 3 Golden Eagles.
You might want to go to plan B when Nealis is double teamed at the near post.
Frosted tips of Chris Lay, the long throw-in. It's a dangerous one. Nearly headed in, almost the second own goal of the match.
Yes, Chukai went up to clear that one. He had beaten his own goalkeeper, Stern. And there you can see, though, long throws, restarts, it puts so much pressure on back lines. That is a weapon, Chris Lay, that we haven't seen from this Georgetown team.
Ball falls to Dotson. Good first touch to Achara, and then a poor first touch by the senior allows Marquette to win a goal kick.
Really good combination at the top of the box, and Achara would love to have cushioned that one as he was running through. Yeah, Dotson just put that one on a platter for him as well.
Tom, the last Georgetown Hoya regular to have that long throw was?
Dave Magley.
No chance. It was Keegan Rosenberry, the current Colorado Rapids superstar. Here's Montez, wide to Achara. That first touch is better. Across the face to Dotson. It's a goal, and it's Derek Dotson depositing the Achara assist, and the Hoyas lead 3-0.
Dotson tried to set Achara up a minute ago. Achara returns the favor, and an easy finish at the back post as it's Montez to Achara to the back post for Dotson to tap that one in, and it is 3-0 Georgetown.
And for those of the viewers that watched at the very top of our broadcast, we talked about the trio of Montez, Achara, and Dotson. All sides of the triangle there in action, and the Hoyas lead 3-0.
Getting that third goal less than 10 minutes into the second half is huge for Georgetown, and that probably just takes the win completely out of the Marquette sails.
Here's Josh Cohen, shot from distance. Nicopolitis, an easy save. First time we've seen Giannis in the second half.
And Cohen at the very top of the league standings in shots. Testing Nicopolitis from about 25 yards.
Hearn finds Sands. Sliding tackle by Chukai. He did get the ball, but if the margins were thin there.
Very thin. That was a desperate challenge for Chukai as the pace of Sands. Good challenge in the box from Marquette center back.
And again, Brian Krieger and the team today bringing us our replays on the Big East Digital Network, presented by SoFi, doing an outstanding job as Will Sands, after a good burst down the left side, will take a break, and the Hoyas win a corner. It'll be Jack Beer to take this corner. Beer, who nearly scored with about 5 minutes remaining in the first half, as his dipping left-footed drive hit the upside of the crossbar.
It's the 5th corner on the day for the Hoyas. They've got some dangerous targets on these.
Near post run. Dotson flicks over. That was the delivery that the Hoyas were looking for there. It was the flick header that wasn't on point.
There's a really good near post run from Dotson, and Beer. Educated service picking him out there. That one Dotson tried to flick towards goal. He could have also flicked it across the goal mouth as Marquette struggling to play out of the back as Georgetown electing to press them up high. Marquette continuing to try to play, but having trouble dealing with that pressure.
And Tom, the Hoyas, 6 goals, 0 against in 3 halves of soccer against 2 of the better teams in the conference here this week.
Yeah, it's just been a great run for Georgetown. They are showing why not only are they the class of the Big East right now, but in many people's eyes, one of the most dangerous teams in the entire country. Certainly the RPI has them at #1, but many coaches watching them play just can't find any flaws in this squad.
Here's Beer. He's going to cut inside and find Achara. And it is a confident Georgetown side with so much depth that in moments like today when you lose a starter like Hope Gund, and that's happened a few times throughout the year, the Hoyas have replaced them. The only time it hasn't, as Nealis clips a longing ball, was the loss of Zawadzki in the Hoyas' lone loss of the year, a 1-0 overtime to Louisville. And I think there's many observers of the team who would say Zawadzki is the most irreplaceable part of this side.
Yeah, and certainly Coach Brian Weiss says when he fills out his lineup card, it's the number 6 that he puts in first every day, and then he builds around Zawadzki. And he does so in that defensive midfield position. I think he's really grown as well in terms of finding times to win balls high up the field and join the attack. And he has all the qualities with the ball at his feet to do that.
So you find Zawadzki a worthy successor to you wearing the number 6 jersey, which you did patrolling the attack for Georgetown in the mid-90s.
Yeah, it was. I was not a traditional number 6, but someone else had a jersey number that they wouldn't give up.
Here's Montez on the far side of Shaw Field. Montez not credited with the first goal, but did everything to create it, and then gets on the score sheet with the assist on the third. Here is Zawadzki. Great ball to Achara, who's onside. And I'm not correct, he's offsides. But then J.C. Griggs does a good job here. He's going to actually call the foul that he didn't allow, because when the offside flag went up, the play was still underway.
Yeah, he's had a really, really good match. We talked about, when Sand looked like he was fouled, he was right in the perfect spot to see the clean tackle in there. A great understanding of allowing a play to go on, but because of the offsides, you bring the foul back.
It'll be Beer or Montez. It'll be Beer. Movement at the back post, looking for Polvera. It's actually it was nearer to Chris Lay, but Stern wins it. Chris Lay doing his Rio Hope Gund impression. And with 8 or 9 more inches of height, he might look like Rio as a target. Here is Lay wide to Achara as the Hoyas really have dominated this second half. Marquette's yet to string more than 3 or 4 passes together as we approach the 62nd minute.
And it was similar in the first half. Georgetown got off to a really good start, and then Marquette found their footing, had some stretches where Purple was around the ball a little bit more. Of course, you think about that chance that Cohen had trying to catch Nicopolitis off the line. The problem playing against Georgetown is if you don't take those chances and you miss, you find yourself defending, and then the quality of this Hoya attack will ultimately break you down. Today it's happened 3 times against Marquette.
And Tom, it's interesting in the formation right now. It's one of the first times all year that Georgetown's had Beer, Achara, Dotson, and Montez all on the field, and they're going to make subs now, but Montez was stationed right throughout that moment as Beer occupying more of the withdrawn striker slot.
Yeah, and it's the interchange that those players have, the ability to go to different spots on the field. You talk about that threesome. Coach Weiss takes them all off at the same time as well.
Do you think that's the last we'll see of the trio this afternoon? Or you expect we'll see one or all of them re-enter in the last 28?
I would suspect on senior day, at the very least, Achara comes back in. And then, in all likelihood, probably Montez and Dotson will get some additional run. But if Georgetown can find another goal while they're on the bench, Coach Weiss may elect to save their legs.
Be a full week of rest for both sides. They're back in action next weekend on the Big East Digital Network. Georgetown traveling to Villanova, a dangerous side for Coach Carlin.
Substitution for your Hoyas entering the match, number 3, Paul Rothrock, along with number 13, Riley Strassner, and number 27.
High pressure played on Salmarone. Marquette plays out of it, but Zawadzki able to win in the midfield. And Dylan Nealis, excellent in the first half, extremely quiet in the second. But Nealis, a lot of pressure on him coming into the year, a Herman Watch candidate, picked as the Big East preseason defensive player of the year, and he's lived up to the billing.
Yeah, it's just been another fantastic campaign for the senior right back. You talked about Georgetown's schedule. Marquette closes at home against Seton Hall and then at DePaul, and they will need points in those games.
O'Hearn, a strong header over Sunnison as he's had the better of that battle this afternoon. Segrist, excellent directional header to Cash. Marquette trying to find something with Cohen, but instead it's a tackle from Dylan Nealis. He'll go wide, it's Beer. Riviere wants it in a pocket, he'll get it. Riviere right-footed shot off the crossbar. Riviere and Beer, great communication.
And a wry smile from Zach Riviere. Is not only did Georgetown had 3 good runs in the box during this combination play, and that is just composed by Riviere in the box. A quick turn, trying to catch Stern off of his line, and the second crossbar for the Hoyas today.
Riviere not on his preferred foot there, the left-footed player. Lay, dangerous ball. Nicopolitis heads confidently to Wu, and Wu says, I'm going to hit this as high and wide as I can to slow things down, as Chris Lay put Nicopolitis in a tough spot there.
And Nicopolitis well off of his line. Awkward header that Daniel Wu cleaned up.
Here's Beer finding Polvera. Good switch of the play to Nealis.
The one thing about Polvera that I've seen in the second half, it's almost been exclusively one touch in the center of the park. Siri takes a couple of touches, but he's had his head on a swivel. He kind of knows where the defensive pressure is coming, and as the ball's coming to him, he already knows where he's releasing and getting away from that pressure.
Goal kick here. Cedric Stern and the Marquette Golden Eagles again. Stern, a former youth national performer in Germany, electing to come pursue his academic studies in the northern Midwest.
And coach, of course, Coach Bennett, originally from England. Marquette has always had a good pipeline to players in Europe.
Wu, perfect pace to Nealis. He can't combine with Strassner. Now Cash and the Golden Eagles move forward. Ball squirts to O'Hearn. First time off the interception to Rothrock. And Rothrock dispossessed. And then a foul committed right at midfield. Rothrock exploded onto the scene in the first 3 weeks of the season with 6 early assists. Then went through a spell with a lack of productivity, and then ended that with the game-winning assist at Maryland in Georgetown's Monday night win 2 weeks ago. Meanwhile, Wu wins the header strongly against Franklin in the middle of the box, and Georgetown will counter with Strassner.
Yeah, and that's an important header by Wu there, as Franklin has good size, and we talked about his ability to score goals up top for Marquette.
Here is Georgetown's leading assist man, Rothrock, to find Riviere. He wants it back, he'll get it. Rebound falls to Rothrock to Riviera. Shot blocked by Stern and cleared by Segrist. That's what they call a quick release there by Zach Riviere.
Yeah, Riviere has probably the quickest release on this team, and that is in a tight spot with his left foot, but Stern up to the challenge. It looked like there was a screen in front of him as well. Stern got down quickly.
And it's all Hoyas as Beer finds Rothrock, and the Hoyas will win a corner. Tom, Georgetown has dominated the first 22.5 minutes of this second half. So we take a look at Lewis Ewell prone on the ground, asking for the Marquette trainer to enter the match.
Yeah, and it's not what Coach Bennett wants to see. More injuries on that back line, and Ewell holding that knee. You hope that's nothing serious, as Marquette has had to deal with all sorts of adversity in there. Chris Lay, good productivity from him as you take a look at that slide tackle from Ewell. And you hope the young man is okay.
And so we were talking about, Tom, the domination for the Hoyas in this second half. It really has been from the moment of the second half kickoff, waves of pressure, and it's hard to defend as long as Marquette's had to defend.
It is, and we've talked about the depth a lot on these broadcasts of this Georgetown team, and it's just fresh legs that Brian Weiss can bring in. And so sometimes, you know, they're, as Georgetown goes quick and early, sometimes
as Beer moves into the box. Beer service Riviere again to Stern, and that play has now been 3 times. Riviere's found a shot from between the 6-yard box and the penalty spot. Hasn't found the back of the net yet.
Yeah, just to finish that thought, you know, sometimes you have these guys that want to play 35 or 40 minutes and a half, and they're only getting 10 or 15, but they are making the most of it for Georgetown.
Cohen's cross parried over the bar by Nicopolitis, and it'll be a corner for Marquette.
Nicopolitis, safety first there for the Georgetown keeper.
It's a good look at Connor Alba to take this corner.
Alba, one of many Chicago Fire products on this Marquette roster.
Alba will hit the in-swinger with the left boot. It's to the back post, and O'Hearn wins another header. Sean O'Hearn's been excellent in the air all afternoon.
Yeah, it's as good of a defensive heading, you know, quality that we've seen from O'Hearn in his entire career at Georgetown, stepping into the center of the park. He's typically not asked to win those challenges, but have seen some incredible athleticism from the junior, Sean O'Hearn.
And for the Golden Eagles, an exchange of talented upper-class midfielders as Perpa replaces Alba. But Luca Perpa staring down a 3-0 deficit with just 20 minutes remaining on Shaw Field. Stay with us after the match for an interview with Georgetown head coach Brian Weiss or Louis Bennett, or one of the star players of the match, depending on the results. Tom, Brian Weiss answering the question I posed you 7 minutes ago. Would we see the trio of Montez, Achara, and Dotson, and Wagner, who's already in the book, is going to get a talking to from J.C. Griggs? That certainly would have been a yellow had he not been on one, Tom.
Yeah, and it's just another example of really good officiating, understanding the circumstances of the match. And you're absolutely correct. If that had happened at this exact same moment and he's not in the book already, that is deserving of a yellow card, but really, really quality officiating today on Shaw Field.
O'Hearn the diagonal ball. It's looping. So Cash able to clear. Falls though to Beer. He'll cut to his right foot. Shot from distance blocked. And then cleared by Cash. And Zawadzki's undercut.
Yeah, that's an easy one as Jendi just comes in and pushes Zawadzki off the ball.
As the clock ticks under 19 minutes remaining, Georgetown will re-enter their dynamic trio of Dotson, Achara, and Montez at the next opportunity. Beer clips the ball to the back post, looking for Wu, just over his head. And the substitutions will come on now, Tom. And that trio was engaged in animated conversation at the scores table.
I think Achara and Dotson were reminding Montez that the two of them have a goal today, and Montez doesn't.
Replacing number 22.
Montez said, "Are you sure the first goal wasn't credited to me?" And the answer is yes. They are sure. It's an own goal to start the scoring. It was in Achara on a penalty drawn by Nealis. And then it was Dotson finishing off a terrific combination play for the third goal.
27, Zach Riviere. Also in the match here is number 9, John Dotson. Replacing number 13, Will Sainz.
Dan, for this Georgetown team, through the first 6 games of the year, they were averaging 3 goals a match. And they went into a stretch where they were creating the chances but not finishing them as they were at the start of the year. In the last 2 games that they've played at St. John's and then here again today, find 3 goals in each of those matches.
Again, for those just joining us on the Big East Digital Network presented by SoFi, Georgetown now with 33 goals on the campaign with just 5 against, never conceding more than 1 in a match, and only trailing once in a match.
Yeah, that's right, because the Louisville match went to overtime and Louisville scores the golden goal to give Georgetown their only loss on the year.
Georgetown 16 minutes and change away from a 7th consecutive shutout as Fisher has space.
7 shutouts for goalkeepers are a good career for many of them. The combination of Nicopolidis and Romero doing that in the last 7 contests.
Elsewhere in the conference, we're underway in Chicago where DePaul and Xavier scoreless in the first half, and another big game in the middle of the table.
Yeah, both Xavier and DePaul tied with 6 points in the standings, so the winner of that match will move up and be tied with this Marquette team with 9 points.
And both of those teams with good RPIs in the low 50s right now, meaning a little burst of a run could position them for a bid in the NCAA tournament.
And you think about the blemish in conference for Georgetown, it's the DePaul team that got a 0-0 tie against these Hoyas.
There you take a look at Christian Marquez, the freshman from Illinois, making his first appearance of the afternoon.
Replacing number 16,
And it's Joe DeLuz now at left back for Georgetown.
And Marquez, another one of the Chicago Fire products, just a really good pipeline into this Marquette program.
Georgetown with their own Chicagoan, the junior Derek Dotson. Getting word that we might talk to the junior after this match if the scoreline holds up.
It's really amazing. Dotson had a fantastic freshman campaign, I think 22 points, something like that, led the Hoyas in scoring as a sophomore, and finds himself leading the Hoyas scoring attack again as a junior. He has really grown as a soccer player, always has the ability to score goals, but setting players up, defensive work off the ball, just a great soccer IQ and comes from a family of talented soccer players. Older brother and older sister both played collegiately.
Dotson, that rare honor of being selected as a captain in your junior season, signaling not only the growth on the field but off. O'Hearn up the touchline, headed away there by Clay Smith, as Louis Bennett's exposing some of his freshmen to their first action in the Georgetown series. Marquette poised to fall to 114-3 all time against Georgetown.
Yeah, and Marquette, like Xavier, likes to redshirt a number of players, have big rosters, have good experience and depth that goes on, and with some of the injury issues that Marquette has dealt with this year, really forcing some of the younger players into action that they may be a year or so away from being ready for.
Ball falls to Fisher near midfield. Fisher, who played some of his youth career for the Paris Saint-Germain Academy. As Achara cuts inside, back heel to Beer. Beer clips the ball into the box, looking for Dotson, flashing header. Wide, and it'll be a goal kick. Got more neck and back, I think, than head there from Dotson. I'd love to see that back heel from Achara.
A little flare.
Dotson.
From the Nigerian striker.
Dotson tried to flick that ball to Achara, but it was cut out by Salmeron. Now Franklin for Marquette. Poor loss of possession allows Fisher to find the ball. Now Montez. Tough tackle between Fisher and Franklin. Marquette ends up the beneficiary. Now the overlap from Cash.
Dan, you talked about PSG, had the fortune of seeing the U.S. women's national team play a couple of matches at PSG Stadium this summer in the World Cup. And one of them was against Chile, and it was a time that the U.S. women brought kind of their second team in, and it just made me think about the depth of this Georgetown team and what must go on in the trainings and the quality of players that Coach Weiss has at his disposal that are coming off the bench that would be starters for many teams in this conference and in this country. And it's really kind of a luxury of riches in the attacking third for Coach Weiss in this Georgetown Hoyas program.
I think the Georgetown staff and Georgetown supporters will like that analogy if the season ends the same way the World Cup did for the U.S. Here's Beer to the corner flag. Chops it back. Now looking for Achara. Well read, though, there by Salmeron. Now Marquez against Wu, two freshmen there.
And Dan, this game has really slowed down since that third goal.
Postseason tickets now available for two of the fall championships played on campus. It'll be the women in Omaha. Get those tickets at bigeast.com/WSOC tickets. And the field hockey folks will be up in the Constitution State in New England at Quinnipiac. Get those at bigeast.com/FH tickets. Segrist at the back post, out-jumped by O'Hearn.
And Sean O'Hearn has been up to the task today, sliding over from that left back position, taking the place of the injured Rio Hope Gund.
And a couple substitutions here. It'll be Ethan Kohler, his first action of the season in the net. And Aiden Rocha, freshman from nearby Maryland, will move in at the right back position as Neela slides into the interior. And a good look there at Kohler. Kohler got some important action last year when Nicopolitas was on international duty.
Yeah, and sporting the same fluorescent green jersey that you have an affinity towards.
81st minute, Rocha sliding challenge. Rocha's a player the Georgetown program likes a lot. Tom, you talked about the kind of quality. You can show that quality in training. Beer, a good idea, as Montez was free. But Segris, the experienced defender from Marquette, read that well, or Montez would have been in alone. Fisher and O'Hearn, good combination. JB, the senior, on senior day. Here's Dotson. Now Montez. Here's Rocha. Good possession here from Georgetown. Zawadzki checks his shoulders and moves out to the left side to find DeLuz. Deep into the Georgetown roster here as well. Achara, a couple step overs to the end line. Defended well by Smith. And then Fisher out of traffic, and here's that sequence I talk about. It tends to happen once a half at least, where Georgetown, every one of the 10 field players touches it.
Yeah, and they just swing the ball side to side, patient, but you have to stay focused dealing with it defensively, because this Georgetown team will break you down quickly with a combination as they switch it. You cannot get complacent as Georgetown goes through these stretches of prolonged possession.
And I said the 10 field players, but Georgetown getting Kohler involved there as well. So all 11 have touched it in this sequence. We're probably 95 seconds into this possession right now. Here's Achara cutting inside. Terrific ball, finds Rocha with space. Rocha keeps it in play, but his first touch wasn't good enough. And Georgetown's chance, as we take a look at the women coming out to support their male colleagues and getting ready for their matchup on the Big East Digital Network, presented by SoFi tomorrow afternoon at 1 p.m. Dave Nolan's side, a terrific season. Have hit a bit of a rough spell, including a midweek loss at DePaul, and so tomorrow an important match for the Lady Hoyas.
It is an important match, and really a classy move by Coach Reese as well late in this match, bringing in Lochner and Strassner, two seniors on senior day.
Lochner was fouled, and so we'll see who raises their hand to take this free kick. It's going to be Jack Beer, I believe.
As you see behind the restart, Georgetown with 16 shots today.
Here is the junior Beer, most two-footed of the Georgetown players. Beer clips the ball to the back post, looking for Strassner, but Stern off his line to grab.
Yeah, 3 or 4 times today, Stern, even though there has been traffic in front of him, the quality of the service from Georgetown has been lacking just a little bit.
Nealis rises above it, and they'll say Nealis committed the foul. And that piggyback ride
did not stick the landing.
No, Simone Biles would not have been proud of that. Header in the box, it's offsides.
For the second time today, A.J. Franklin getting into a dangerous spot, but unable to hold that run.
You see a good ball from Cash there. Franklin not able to hold his run, as you said. Wasn't expecting Simone Biles to get into today's broadcast, but congratulations to her on the all-time record, most decorated international gymnast in history. Achara flicks on, looking for Lochner. Chukai, a good piece of defending.
Is Simone Biles your wife's favorite gymnast of all time?
No, that would be Shannon Miller.
Shannon Miller.
And more substitutions, and a big applause for Siggy. Siggy Garrison making his first appearance of the afternoon. Several Siggy signs being held up by the Hoya faithful as Sean O'Hearn's afternoon is finished. Gearson was listening to your first half commentary about Mo Salah, as he'll be sporting the undershirt on the 67-degree afternoon. Different type of player, though, than Salah. Gearson in the back. Segrist and Cash possess. Luca Perpa just has not been able to get going today. You knew coming in today, Tom, if Marquette was going to have a chance to pull the upset, Perpa probably had to pull something special out of the bag of tricks.
Yeah, and he certainly has the quality to do it. One of the most dynamic players, but of course kind of really working his way back into full fitness. Missed a couple of matches earlier in the year. But an incredible talent for this Marquette program. Think about freshman of the year, his freshman year, all conference as a sophomore and a junior. He's had some trials with Swansea City in the EPL.
Here's Lochner against Salmarone. Lochner's going to win that. Beer wants to see the grad student run, and he'll pick it up against Chukai. Clips a long ball looking for Rocha. Aiden Rocha battles for it. He and Marquez, two freshmen, will call that a draw, and then Pulvera turns into traffic, gets away with it. Now Fisher. Strassner on senior day. And Rocha does not have that pace, and so with less than 3 minutes remain, the Hoyas, Tom, they're going to move to 13-1-1. They're going to move to 6-0-1. They're going to secure a minimum of a first-round bye, and they control their destiny to host the entire Big East soccer tournament.
Yeah, and of course, that was a change that the conference made years ago, and it has resulted in some great results for this Hoyas team, hosting some Big East finals, including last year at Shaw Field against this Marquette team when Georgetown won their second consecutive Big East tournament championship.
Lochner out wide. It's Austin Riddick. Please stay with us. I'll be joined by Derek Dotson on the sideline. Tom, what would you like me to talk to the junior captain about?
The discussion that allowed Achara to take the penalty kick is, of course, Derek Dotson earlier in the year took Georgetown's first penalty kick, and he scored it. And typically,
as Lochner with a burst.
Typically, when you score your penalty kick, you're allowed to keep going. Maybe Dotson was just letting Achara get one on senior day.
I'll see if I can work that in. Here's Deleuze near the corner flag as we approach 1 minute remaining in a comprehensive victory for Georgetown. Meanwhile, for Louis Bennett and the Marquette Golden Eagles, clearly Georgetown the better side. 2 critical games remaining. How does Bennett, with a week of training, prepare Marquette for the last 2 matches of its regular season?
Well, first of all, hoping to get full fitness back for some of their back line. But it is a Marquette team that has quality, experienced players that have been in big spots. They found themselves 1-3 after their first 4 games, then responded with those 2 consecutive victories coming into the match today. So Marquette will have to regroup, figure out how to get some results in their last 2 contests.
Good skill from Gearson. And the clock ticks down. Under 30 seconds remaining as Stern punts to midfield. Good ball from Cash, finds Alba. Overlap coming. Smith.
10, 9, 8, 7.
And that'll do it on the afternoon. It's a comprehensive 3-0 win as the Hoyas move to 13-1-1. The Marquette Golden Eagles fall to 7-7-1. We'll be back on the Big East Digital Network presented by SoFi with Derek Dotson, Georgetown's junior striker, after this.
Hallelujah.
And this is just one night. You should see what we do during the day. Marquette University. Be the difference.
Back here at Shaw Field, Dan Helfrich along with Georgetown junior captain, the striker, Derek Dotson. And Derek, a week ago you would have said one of the biggest weeks of the season at St. John's, then hosting Marquette. 6 goals, 4-0 against. It must feel quite satisfying right now.
Yeah, I think the boys are playing really well and we're buzzing. I mean, that's 7 or 6 games without a goal. So our back line and goalkeeper are clearly doing something that's working, and then up front we're starting to click and starting to fire on all cylinders.
So you've gotten on the end of several crosses that have been based on an interchange with Achara, with Montez, etc. The three of you really seem like your combination play has been superb.
Yeah, in practice we just really focus on trying to get together and try and make something happen, and then on crosses we've been really stressing communication on saying who's going near post, who's going far, who has a cutback. So I think that practice is really starting to pay off in the games.
So my partner, Tom Greaser, asked me to ask you this. You took a penalty earlier in the year and made it. Today there's a penalty whistled. We're expecting you to take it, and then the senior Achara steps up to take it. What happened there?
Well, going into it, I had a thought that Achara might ask for it. So when I got the ball, I saw him standing there, so I gave him a little head nod, and he shook his head. So I said, yeah, you can go ahead and have this one, and then we'll have a discussion about who gets the next one.
So chivalry on senior day by the junior Derek Dotson, Achara scoring. And Derek, let's set the stage for the rest of the season. 13-1-1 right now. As a captain, what's the one thing you're going to be talking to the lads about to keep things moving?
Just keeping the same focus that we've had over this week. I think it's been excellent. And then handling all the details. I think when we really get our details right, we're pretty hard to beat.
So that'll do it from Shaw Field. Georgetown 3, an own goal, a goal by Achara, and a goal by this man, Derek Dotson. Marquette 0. That's it on the Big East Digital Network, presented by SoFi.